You found Channel 13. Keep watching. Keep watching. Keep watching. Keep watching. Keep watching. This transmission carries with it nothing of value.
Meowser. Wait, what does it say again on your cozy?
Oh, mine?
Mm-hmm.
It says King Drunk.
King Drunk.
It's a koozie, not a cozy. Right?
I think it's interchangeable.
It's a koozie.
Cozy.
No, it's a koozie.
Kozy.
I don't know how it's spelled. I guess.
COOZ.
I think it's a C, not a K.
COKY.
What?
Cocky.
C and KY.
C and KY. My cologne.
Yeah.
No, is that a cologne? What's C and
Car
KY?
Noir. CNKY. That's a band, isn't it?
No.
That's Four Dead in Ohio.
What's the band?
The band is
Welcome back to my shitted up
my
underwear.
nightmare.
Yes, seriously.
Drunken horror. That is drunken horror. Obviously, if you
Yes.
get so drunk that you shit yourself. I've never done that. I've gotten drunk quite a few times in my life, and I've never
I've
shit
peed some
myself.
stuff, but I've never pooed
I've
some
never
stuff.
pissed myself either.
Yeah.
God, you're a
I've
piece of
peed some-
shit.
At some point in time.
Have we even
God, I hope
properly
not.
talked about any movie?
Yes.
Welcome back to Drunken Horror, the YouTube equivalent of a dry hand job.
I like a dry hand, yeah. 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 3 sheets.
I'm like 9 sheets in the wind.
Yeah.
I'm like rocketing in the middle
Oh,
of the
no,
ocean,
yeah.
hunting the Leviathan with no spears. Oh, Creepshow 3. Okay, so this is again, we talked about like someone got the rights to it or the rights lapsed, and this is a cash grab. The original Creepshow 3 is actually the Tales from the Dark Side movie. Like everyone who worked on Tales from the Dark Side the movie worked on the Creep shows. And so that's always considered the spiritual successor to that series. There's no Creep. There's no...
I'm going to see you guys later. I'm
The-
going now.
Mark actually made a comment about that at a different point. The creep is the hot dog vendor.
Yes.
What?
The hot dog vendor that shows up at the beginning. I know that there's a hot dog vendor in one of the segments or whatever.
Yeah. The one's
But-
the covered in ants one. Yeah.
But he's also at the very end of the whole movie. He laughs, and when they
Yeah.
credit it away. And
Yeah,
everything.
the hat, is the creep, but he's not really. The
No,
creep
not he's
either.
not. And
At
they do
all.
like it's that awful fucking like roller coaster tycoon computer art of like the cartoon aspects of this movie.
Right. I mean, like, there's nothing about it. We talked about live stream being made for $5. Like, this movie was made for $5. Actually, what
you
actually
think so?
shocked me.
Those special
Um,
effects weren't good then.
So, I was actually
Terrible.
surprised rewatching this for this because I saw that movie 10 years ago or more.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you see this when it came out in the way of like, oh my god, there's a part 3, they're making part 3, and you were excited for it?
No,
Or
I
did
saw
you-
this in the way that it. If I pull out my original Xbox 360, I believe I purchased it in like 2008. I rewatched it. I can't remember anything about it. Are there like hand-drawn things about it? Like,
No, the art is all that bad computer time error of that. It's very timed.
okay.
It looks like
The
Really,
girl's
like the
makeup
roller
when
coaster
she comes
tycoon.
back and she's like a mutant walking up on her family.
yeah.
Right.
That makeup wasn't horrible. but it was horrible for the time. Do you know what I mean? Where she's
it wasn't horrible if they made this for like an art project, like a class project in
it
film
wasn't
school.
horrible if this was the 1993
I also
Creepshow
think it,
3.
Like this isn't an independent movie. It's outside of it being an independent movie, it's garbage looking. If there were a bunch of kids who love film and they made this, they got the rights or whatever, it looks great.
Right. And I think it kind of goes along with the story. The story just sucks. Like, it's like, here's this remote that controls everything, which has been done many fucking times.
But even though it's been done a million times, they try to make their own spin, I guess, and they did it bad.
Right.
Like how do you make a proven story bad?
You're setting up that this girl's kind of like a shallow, shitty teenager girl.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
But what happens to her has nothing to do with it. It's not like...
I think that she's actually just a really bad actress that you're supposed to care or feel for her. You're supposed to, like, she kept telling us how she hates her neighborhood. I think she's in a bad place. Like, her family sucks. And obviously we see that her family sucks because grandma talked about her butt. But,
Right.
like, I think we're supposed to feel for her. It's just an awful, awful movie.
This is what happens when you want to make a movie and also have sex with people.
Is there nudity in this movie?
No.
No. Sucks.
See, this is such a bad sequel that it should have been like nudity galore.
There's drugs.
Just like,
There's prostitution.
Through every person in this movie, and none of them are dead. Just because I mention this all the time. A couple of them were in CSI. Probably corpses or whatever. But like, we've mentioned CSI in every single one of our episodes because Dave loves it.
I thought you said that Mark
loves
was in love with the Navy show because he's old. All right, but so the universal remote thing happens though. So the girl keeps becoming a monster. The reason I asked about boobs is because I thought about this. But she keeps becoming more and more of the monster, and at the end, she's the complete and total monster, and she just appears all covered in boils or whatever.
Yeah.
There is zero reason, but her shirt is now open.
Why can't movies just have bloody monster tits like I want? I want them.
Honestly,
Give me
that first
more.
one, I don't even get. Like,
The
I don't
first
even
scene?
understand what happened. I rewinded it, and it was kind of like, so it was just like, the guy just comes and turns it into a dog?
Now let us consider the effects of alcohol on the human body.
It's a bunny.
A bunny named
Or a
Alice.
bunny, that's right.
Yeah, the whole family forgets about her when she
But
turns
not
into
the
a
mom.
bunny. But not the mom. She's like, "Oh, Alice, that's a nice name." Everybody else forgets about her. The doctor, he's introduced there, and they're like, "Oh, that's this weird fucking doctor."
So the doctor, cut to that. So the doctor though, and one of the times when she's freaking out, when Alice is freaking out in the street and she's running around, he's out there looking for the rabbit. So they're
Right.
trying to do some like weird time loop and trying to be intelligent with their storytelling, which
Sure.
they're just not. at.
Because it's briefly brought up like, "Oh, that weird old dude."
Wait.
The first effect may be noted in the mouth and throat. Concentrated alcohol, such as whiskey, usually causes a burning sensation as it is swallowed.
Then when she's in his house,
Did
eating all his
they
food,
ever bring up, like, the doctor was involved with the remote? Because I missed that.
They don't come out and say it, but he's in one
He's
of the
there
weird
and, like,
flashes.
doing things. So,
Wait,
the problem is that he's never mentioned, and then the doctor just comes in and goes, I was involved in this. Like,
Well,
at the
did that
beginning when
remote
she's
come
walking
from
down
the
going,
this guy in the street? Like where the radio came from? Did that
Right.
remote come from that?
and that's why I'm wondering if is he more
the
the
creeper?
Is he the creeper? Because he's the one that sells the remote. He sells the radio, and
Did they
there's a
show the remote selling, or are we
there's
just jumping?
there's
No.
a voodoo
you're
doll.
just making it up.
The radio, there is something else on the
Yeah.
on sale it's in one of the other stores, or like a throwback. There is another piece there.
Well, there's a voodoo doll. There's
There's two radios.
I thought there was a remote there, and I thought that implies that maybe the dad bought the remote from this guy.
But now Ben was throwing out there that in the second story with the weird guy, a cop shows up in that one.
At an alcohol level of 0.4%, the drinker is rendered totally unconscious.
That cop is the dad. That's obviously the same actor, but you're telling me that's the same character?
Yes,
Yes.
because they call him detective.
Then
He goes,
why-
everything's
Detective.
okay here,
But-
detective, and he's pulling out his gun. He's like fumbling it.
In the first one, who says detective? Who calls him that?
The doctor calls him detective. The scientist calls him detective.
All right, Detective Jacobs.
Because he turns
And
around
that
with the rabbit.
scientist is the same one from when like the mail order bride.
Right.
Yeah, and the one,
Episode.
yeah.
The whole
Because then
thing-
Alice is in that scene at the end after the chapel.
Right. But it's still a rabbit.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
the mom remembers, right?
that makes
So-
even less sense to me. Like, that's one of my complaints that I talked about at one point here was that it's supposed to all intertwine, but that guy played two different roles. I do not consider that guy in the first one a cop because of the fumbling of the gun. If you go back thinking about how much I'm bitching about the fumbling of the gun and you watch it, you're going to go, oh no, he's actually right about that.
Please, I just want to be normal. But you already are, Alice. This is who you are.
To
When
be
you-
fair, like a detective is trained to deal with crack dealers or criminals, not
bunnies.
monsters that show up in their house.
That was the second one, the radio one.
Honestly, more than the other ones, because I want to warn people not to watch this movie because it's terrible. Not in a way that like you want to watch Creepshow.
It's bad.
It's bad, and it doesn't have the charm. Oh my god, the guy's life is the most depressing thing I've ever seen in my life.
The alcohol reaches the stomach, where some of it, about 20%, is absorbed directly into the bloodstream. Concentrated drinks, such as whiskey, are absorbed more quickly.
And he finds this radio to tell him to start doing things. He kills somebody.
Who
He's
lives in a
security
pimp's
guard.
house.
I get it. He lives by himself. He lives in a bunch of crackheads. But he finds a radio that starts telling him to do a bunch of shit.
He buys
And
the cheaper of two from a homeless guy.
And then he goes and finds money in an abandoned building. Like thousands of dollars. Then
Was that
some
in the
hooker
basement?
that he's attracted to, for some reason, I think it's because it's the only woman he's seen. Because even,
She flirts with him a lot, it seems like.
man,
and
they
then-
did a good job on her because she looks like a kicked-ass hooker. Like, seriously, she looks like a big old
Kicked-ass
pile of
hooker?
shit. She looks like she looks like someone found a hooker-shaped pile of shit and then shit on it. And then they all die, and the pimp's like, I have a radio that talks to me too, but it was a more expensive radio.
The main reason why the guy dies is because he stops listening to the radio and starts. The radio was telling him, "Don't hang out with this prostitute. Don't trust the prostitute." Blah blah
He
blah.
didn't
But
even fuck the prostitute. He was just
No.
taking her. He
Wait,
didn't
he
taste the goods.
well, she
Anyways,
shot him,
this is the problem.
and then she got shot.
After he cleans up his whole apartment, he's sitting at this little round table. Like, it's literally this big. And he made himself like a little sandwich. It's like a little sandwich. He's eating salad. And I go, oh my God. If that was my life, I'd kill myself. I said that out loud. What? You could get anything. You could go to a thrift store and get a bigger TV. This is a load of shit.
What? Oh yeah,
He
it's
buys a
2006.
radio.
That's right.
He buys a radio from a bum. Eating
All of us
salad
celebs.
and eating your sandwich. You're just a piece of shit. You're sitting there like, "Ugh."
The remaining alcohol passes into the small intestine, where it is completely absorbed. Therefore, rapid drinking of large quantities of alcohol will result in greater concentration of alcohol in the blood.
That dude drank a lot of Arrogant Bastard ale, also.
Yeah, were they a sponsor? What the
Yeah,
fuck?
it was all over
Yeah.
his fucking house.
But did they just sponsor that one?
Which is expensive.
No,
Yeah.
he lives with hookers, and two beers is $12.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
out of his
No, he should be drinking like Paps.
what the name of the next segment was, but it just says dash just awful.
Don't watch.
What was the next one? What was the one after this?
the
I wanna know what
next-
was just
I-
awful.
I think the next one was the one with the kid calls the prostitute,
Yes, the
Um,
monster prostitute.
the monster prostitute one, right?
Oh, No,
Yeah.
I liked that one. Not like it's just bad. You can find a couple things that you like about it. Like with this scene, this hooker was walking away, so they're trying to do the tie-in because she's coming out of the same building where our radio guy died in. She's coming out and she's crossing the street, and then she just kills a homeless person because she's an asshole.
It's a little different. The
like
makeup didn't look horrible
Right.
for 1984.
Right. She's a
I like that.
prostitute. She's a prostitute and a serial killer. That's the story of her, right? So she goes around, she kills her jobs. That's her base. That's her basis. Because it goes
And she's
back.
getting famous, like the radio keeps talking about.
Right. So it goes
in
back
a few
to
of these episodes.
and
or
she gets
segments.
called. She gets called to this house, and it's a teenager's house, and blah blah blah. Like the teenager ends up being a fucking monster, right? She kills him.
Wait, for the record, the teenager lives on Alice's street by the professor.
Right. That's right. Same
The
street.
teenager does not.
If the total blood concentrate reaches 0.5% or more, death is likely to occur because of interference with breathing, which is regulated by the brain.
Live at the house she goes to. He's already
True.
killed the whole family.
That's also true. Yep.
And then he gets stabbed, but apparently he is immortal
Well,
to
no,
whatever degree.
The monster, the bad guy, lives downtown because he hangs out with the doctor in another one we'll talk about. But so he lives downtown, but he went out to the suburbs
spoil
or whatever.
It, Dave. Make sure we just continue through this.
No, he because he goes out to the suburbs. I assume Alice, those just the suburbs of the downtown or whatever. So he goes out to Alice in the professor's neighborhood, kills whatever family, and takes over the house, and then calls this hooker from downtown.
Where he got the number from earlier. Because they tried to do that, they always tried to do the Pulp Fiction thing where the timeline's mixed up, but you have an incompetent idiot running the show.
Yep.
So then you have the free clinic doctor, which actually, I'm gonna be fair.
Well, you're jumping ahead because we have the professor's wife after the call girl.
Right, before that.
Yeah, she's probably a robot. Let's kill her.
This is the one story I actually don't mind because this is the one that kind of is campy and weird and kind of fucked up, but at the same time kind of reminds me of a Tales from the Crypt type story where there's like, oh, the old professor's just joking with us. He made this robot wife. Let's take her apart. Like, oh shit, we fucked up. And there's this like the cut scenes to it where the professor's like, oh yeah, if I built a wife, I'd put a mute button on her and like shit like that. And it reminded me very much of a Creepshow type of thing. That this was the only one that reminded me of a Creepshow story.
No, I would agree if it didn't end with them hiding body parts all over. Like
Sure.
the comedy weird slapstick, like, put it, put it, put it, put it, put it.
And that's why, to me, that's why I felt like that was the only
I
comic.
think they tried.
Yeah, I think this
they
was
were
the
trying,
only. I
it
think
just
this
didn't
is
work.
the only comic one. A little bit with the doctor, like the next one, going on to the next
No,
one.
I'm saying, do they have the comic separating them with the comic books style?
No.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
You mean that? No. There's nothing. There's nothing.
like that. No,
there's
I'm not
nothing-
talking about comedy. I'm talking about like they had the comic interludes that just kind of were like,
Nope.
okay, and
They
it
just
brings
had
you
their
back to going.
cartoon.
That
They
was
did their
stupid.
cartoon thing that I keep bitching about. They did do it. It just was really bad.
Did they?
Cartoon thing.
Yes, because they show like the hot dog guy's like face goes away at one point, and it's like it looks like really bad beans falling off his face.
Yeah, but that's not. That's just bad special effects.
That's
I'm saying
bad
in
cartoon
between
work.
each
They're-
segment,
Yeah,
they didn't do the comic book thing,
they don't have in between segments.
and all the other ones they do.
No,
Yeah.
they do in all the others.
The doctor one, I think, takes the longest. That one's like so long of him just walking around because the guy dies.
Oh yes.
Who dies?
First of all,
The
bum that he hands the.
Oh yeah.
The doctor one is way too long. It's
Which
great.
isn't even his fault. He just hands a hungry bum a hot dog, and
It's
the guy just
clearly
like
his
crams
fault.
it down his throat and dies.
They
He's
did-
like, "Ugh."
The
And
dude
like,
didn't murder him, but he's clearly a piece of shit.
Right.
he's clearly a piece of shit. But
Right.
why would this suddenly bother him?
He left some sort of like Chinese restaurant or some
Mhm.
sort of place. He just ate, and he complained about that. I ran out on the checker with some sort of prick to this.
No,
lady.
he's yelling at the lady like, "I'm not even going to eat this shit. Fuck you."
But then he goes to the hot dog. So I'm thinking it's in the afternoon and stuff because he's had or he's at least attempted an Asian meal, now a hot dog, and then he moves on to showing up at work, and they're like, "Oh, you just showed up? You're a doctor. Is it not 8:00 in the morning? Like, what? Where are we?"
Yeah,
what
but
I'm
I
trying
think
to say
he
is that
shows
this
up
movie's
whenever he
stupid.
wants to. I think he shows up whenever he wants
He's
They
court
did.
ordered.
They did call him out for being late. They're like, "Hey, you're fucking late."
Yeah, but a hot dog and Chinese food late is like
to. I mean, it could be
12:30, not 8:15.
Hey.
He could be 4 hours late. Who the fuck knows?
It could have
He
been
is
4
court
hours.
ordered to be there. Movies,
That's it.
Ziploc bags of drugs.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's so. He's like, "I got this for you. I got it for you. I got it for you."
They're lollipops that they have like roofie lollipops that are at. Remember, he walks in. They're
They're
lollipops.
Pills. They're
Were they really
pills.
pills?
that he's
What do
handing
you-
out.
They're
No,
pills, right,
they're
Mark?
not pills.
Ben's gone
They're
crazy.
lollipops.
He's got bags of pills.
Yeah, and
No, he does not.
He literally pops pills throughout the day too.
Yeah.
He literally walks in and he's handing out lollipops to people. They're literally drug lollipops that they act like you would have
He's got-
this.
He has Ziploc
He's got
bags
Ziploc.
of pills.
He has
got-
Ziploc bags of fucking lollipops.
I want a hot dog now.
Was that the last one? The hot dog one? That
No.
one seemed to take forever.
No, it
like
is.
this. Yeah, that was the
The
last
hot dog
one.
is the
I
last
guess
one.
it
That-
was.
But then
yeah.
then it goes to the whole like wedding scene.
I
What are we
don't know.
talking about? Creepshow 3?
Yes, this has been wonderful.